It's been a few years since I worked for Disney, and Photopass has gone through a lot of changes since I was there. Here are 6 changes that Photopass has had. Some of them good, a couple of them not so much. Things change over time. Photopass at Disney is no exception to it. Lots of things change and progress and get improved upon, and some things don't necessarily get improved upon. So these are 6 ways that Photopass has changed at Walt Disney World. Most of them for the better, but there are a couple not so good. So one of the very first ones that has changed fairly recently has actually been the costumes that people wear. Photopass, when I started off, we basically took the boat skippers' costumes, the plain blue pants or blue shorts, and then the white shirts that the boat skippers would use on the boat shuttles that would take you from resort to resort. That was actually the costume that we wore, was a boat skipper. And then we took the brown vests, those they had made for us, and we put that on over it. So it was meant to look kind of adventurous. We had a ugly floppy hat that I never wore. We really had a borrowed costume. We did not have one unique to us. When we switched over to the Main Street costume only on Main Street, again, it was a costume that we had really kind of borrowed from merchandise, and then we adapted a little bit. So again, it was a borrowed costume. Then they changed after I left, and they decided, you know what? Let's take that same blue pants, white shirt look that the boat skippers wear, and let's remove the identifying thing and just get rid of the vest. So now nobody will see the photographers. Dumbest move ever. So the costume changed briefly, and then they realized, we really need to come up with something unique. So they finally, about a year ago, came out with new costumes. They're great. They're actually unique. They stand out. They're green, but that's okay. People now, when they walk in the park, can look and they see the green shirt and they can immediately, there's Photopass, which is part of the point. So they're unique. You can spot them now. They stand out in the crowd, which is what they need. People need to walk in the park, and if they want a picture, they need to be able to find the photographer easy, which getting rid of the vest kind of killed that. So love the costumes. I actually talked to some of the Photopass photographers. They're still the polyester blend, so they're still not the best as far as breathability. They're not cotton, which would be great, but they're a better blend than the old ones were. So as one put it, once it's broken in a little bit, it's comfortable and it's cooler than the old costumes. Big pluses in Florida heat. So as a whole, I really like the new costumes. I think they look good. They definitely look a little bit more comfortable than the old ones, and they're unique. Number 2, the camera straps. So when I was there, the Nikon cameras all had little clips on them. They're designed to be able to use a cloth strap that came with the camera. And you would take the strap and you'd actually wind it through and then strap it on. It did not work for clips, but because we all we all needed to have our own camera strap just for various reasons, we couldn't switch out leather camera straps real easy. So we've actually got, this is my original camera strap, believe it or not, second one. I did wear one out. So we all got camera straps, neck straps, with clips on them. And then we would actually take key rings, put them on the camera, so that way we could walk up and just very quickly clip on and off. It made it much quicker and easier for us to be able to come up, switch our strap on. So you'd see photographers when it came time to bump people out. We come up with our little deal. They hold the camera up. We would just go clip, and then they would unclip and we'd switch. No risk of dropping the camera that way. The problem is when you're wearing a heavy camera, because it had the camera, big DSLR, the flash unit, and then other stuff attached, around your neck all day, it tends to make your neck sore, especially if you have any sort of issues. Well, as I was stepping out when I left, they had just started to get in brand new harnesses that instead of wearing it around your neck, it would actually have 2 straps. They would come together and they would go around your shoulders. And that way the weight was more on the shoulder than on the neck. Well, now they've got it's almost like a 5-point harness where you've got the shoulders, but it also comes around the back. And so it really takes the weight of the camera off of the neck, puts it on the shoulders and the back, and makes it much more comfortable, much easier to wear. Instead of having the straps come down from your neck, they come more out the side. So the camera will tend to stay here, drop down a little bit lower, but it's also easier to grab the camera. And then if you do have to move quickly, such as, oh, look, it's a proposal, the cameras are actually in a place where they're easier to hold as you run. I did try with harnesses briefly when they first got them in, and it's a different feeling. It's an adjustment. But just as far as ergonomics go and the muscle use, big improvement. Honestly, I think one of the better things they've done. Nice to see them basically have gotten completely away from these things and gone to something much better. Number 3, the photo boxes. Okay, if you've watched my channel at all, you know this is one of my beefs. They have taken the indoor character locations. Instead of having photographers, they now have a box with a couple cameras in it. And the cameras, every few seconds, shoot a picture. Regardless of what's going on, because they can't see, can't adjust angles, can't move around. It's just this random shot from a picture. And then there's actually lines on the floor so the characters can line the guests up in the spot for the posed picture because there's nobody there to do it for them. I hate the boxes. I know why they've got them there. It's to cut labor costs. It's to help automate things. They suck. I hate the camera boxes. They had held off putting them in. They had started before COVID, and there was such a backlash from it that they had quit actually putting them in. And then COVID hit, they shut everything down, and they really took advantage of that time to install these things all over the place. So now if you go to an indoor character location, it's probably a photo box. I hate the photo boxes. They cannot do the same job a person does. They can't do it anywhere near as well. They just take lousy pictures. Get rid of the photo boxes. Number 4, new photos. Okay, this is actually kind of cool. They've added so many different things. Yes, they've got new variations of the magic shots. We did magic shots. We had lots of them. Hold out your hand and you're holding something magical and unexpected like Tinkerbell or Stitch or something like that. So you didn't know what was going to be in the picture until you got to go see it. Magic shots are always there and always adding new ones. But they've done some other new things as well. For example, the 360-degree shots. These are cool, where you've got this camera on a pole, and you put your group standing in a circle around it. And you all kind of lean in over the camera, and then it takes this picture of everybody in the group around it and the background. It's just this really, it's a weird-looking but unique, neat shot. I actually used to do something kind of sort of similar at the China Pavilion, where I would take people inside the temple there with the round ceiling, and I would lay on the floor and I would have the group stand around me and lean in and take a shot that way. Well, this 360-degree camera does that, but even better. So that's a really neat one. They've also got what was basically being described as the super zoom, where you stand in a place and they've got cameras that get a close-up shot and then come all the way back out so you can see this huge area in the park and you're about yay big, and then it zooms back in. It's such a cool looking shot. They've added light wands and other stuff, and they've tried other things, so they've been really gotten creative with a lot of the stuff that they're doing now, and I love seeing all the new shots. Hey, anytime it's something new, let's try out something experimental and see how it looks. Those are cool. Love those things. Number 5, the photos are in the app and downloadable. Don't even have to go into the store. There's no CDs or DVDs. Okay, so some of this was in place when I was there, where you could take your pictures and a few minutes later, you go into the store and you could see your pictures. And then you could go home and a couple days later, they would be online. Well, Disney has streamlined and sped up this whole thing where now you take a picture and most of the time in seconds, it's in the app. So you can just pull your phone out standing right there and immediately see the pictures. And if you've purchased the Photopass, you can immediately download them. You never even have to go near one of the views, the stores where they sell them. You don't even have to wait till you go home. When I was there, if you wanted to get digital copies of the pictures, you had to order a CD and then a DVD. And then you had to wait for us to burn it. And that would take time. And I had families that, if they had a lot of pictures, it could literally take hours to burn those DVDs. If they went home and they wanted to order digital pictures, you couldn't download it at home. You had to order a DVD, and we would actually burn them in our offices and at the park, and then mail them to the people. So CDs and DVDs and no downloads, and but we could print the pictures. Today, they do still print some pictures in the park, but most people, they buy a Photopass, they download them immediately, they can put their own artwork and frames on there. They do all the stuff in their phone or on the app at home that we used to do in the view, and do it faster, do it better, customize it, and it's there. Yes, you lose a little bit of the labor, which honestly ought to go back to where the photo boxes are, but it's an amazing system. So much faster. I mean, even the dog loves it. Yes, she does. Because there's nothing. She is a little disappointed, though, because there's no DVDs to use as Frisbees. Right? And you wish you had a Frisbee. Exactly. See, she'll tell you. Number 6. The training has been cut way down. So when I was there, Photopass was still relatively new. We were learning all sorts of new things. We trained everybody how to be a photographer first, and then how to take the pictures Disney wanted, and then procedures and how to be character attendants. And it took us a week to 2 weeks before we were shooting pictures. If I remember right, it was a week of in-class training, and then a week of in-park training, learning to take the pictures and stuff like that. Plus, we had a full day of character training later on, and we had a day of night shot training later on. All told, to do everything, it was 2.5 to 3 weeks of training. Now, as I understand, it's more like 2 to 3 days. And they just cram you in, and you're out there. Now, were there things that they trained us on that we didn't have to be trained on? Sure. But we knew how to use the cameras. If there was a problem with the camera, we could fix our camera ourselves a lot of times. They aren't given those skills and tools now. If we were working with the character, we could run that whole deal if the character attendant wasn't there. We knew how to take care of the line. We knew how to take care of the character. We knew what to do in case of costume malfunction, and so forth. They don't get that training now. There's a lot of things we were trained on that they just don't get. And so the photographers aren't as well prepared. They're not as good photographers because they haven't had as much time shooting to practice as we did. And you can see the photographers out there are still good. They're still doing the best job. They're still having a fun time. But you can tell that they are not as well prepared and trained as we were. Especially when you run into a couple of the people that were there when I was there. Because there are still a couple working. James, for example, is still out in the park. Love James to death. You can see when he's working with guests, compared to one of the newer photographers, just the big difference in interactions in the way they work. Because he had training that they don't get. Even just things on how to work with the guests. It shows. My personal opinion, okay, ours could have been cut back some, but they've cut it back way too much. They took away what really helped make Photopass photographers special. Bring back some of that training, Disney. Stop pinching pennies. That and the photo boxes, my goodness. The two things I complain about, the photo boxes and the training, are both penny pinching, squeeze the nickels out deals. And it shows up in the quality of the visit. Get that extra training in, get rid of those stupid photo boxes. That's the two things that have changed that I think I would change back. Are there other things you've seen that have changed in the parks from Photopass? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to know. Is there something I missed, good or bad? Tell me. I'd love to hear it. Love to hear your feedback. Thank you so incredibly much to my financial supporters and my patrons for supporting this and others. Check the description below. There's all sorts of information there, including benefits they get. Thank you so incredibly much for watching. God bless. Let's take that same blue pants, white short. Number 6, the training. Oh my goodness, it's bumping all over. Okay. Number 6, the chaining. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know your thoughts, your comments, your suggestions, your ideas. Be sure to share them in the comments below, or you can contact me. There's information in the description that has my email address, fan pages, information about merchandise, and so much more. So be sure to check that out. Don't forget to hit that like button, share the video, and if you haven't already, hit the button right up there to subscribe. And in fact, if you did enjoy this, I've even got another video for you right here. And also about these wonderful people here, those are my YouTube members and my patrons, the ones whose financial support makes this possible. I couldn't do it without them. If you want to know more about that and the perks that come with it, well, be sure to check the description. There's a link right down there. Thank you so incredibly much. God bless.